live from North Beach Cafe Trieste. We're just going to walk around a little bit and talk about poetry for everybody. And probably, I don't know, probably the most poetic city maybe in the United States. I don't know, I just feel like I'm getting hit in the face with poetry everywhere I look here. It's such a juxtaposed city. There's all this like angles and kind of runoff and blind alleys and winding. You know, there's a lot more winding. I think this is the Paris of the United States. It's just this really alive kind of membrane, this throbbing. There's all this energy. So yeah, we're in North Beach. We were just at SF MoMA, looking at all the abstraction. They got a lot of it. They had a lot of, they had a lot of royalties. We looked at this Ruth Asawa. Ashley went to the Ruth Asawa High School for the Performing Arts, or whatever is it? It's just Ruth Asawa High School, I think, for the arts. Of the arts, okay. Ruth Asawa went to Black Mountain. So there's all these amazing hanging steel, fucking, I don't even know, vase looking things almost. There's some tourists. And it's our last day. We're about to leave soon, pretty soon. So we're just kind of enjoying, you know, the last hours and wanted to just jump on live one more time to just get as many memories as we could. Just record as many memories as we could. Last night we tried to ride this fucking trolley. We waited an hour for this goddamn trolley. It never came. Or it was a streetcar, I guess. The actual streetcar. You want to go? Ashley's going to the psychedelic general store.
Do you like records? I don't have a record player.
I definitely like to think of my live streams as psychedelic. It's amazing. I just saw something. It was like a psychedelic like meetup group. It's like a club where people meet up and talk about and celebrate psychedelics or whatever. It was a guy, Gerard Richter. We looked at a bunch of Gerard Richter paintings. So we waited forever for this goddamn streetcar, and then when it finally showed up, it wouldn't even take our pass. The guy's like, "This is a bus pass. This doesn't work here." Ashley's kind of into her own thing. She can see what a loser I am now. Nothing.
What did you say?
Nothing.
You didn't tell me.
I said she can see what a loser I am now. Then I'm no longer this big shot in New York. You take me out of New York, I'm just this loser. No job, middle-aged, aging fast. Seven Up, New York Times. I mean, the signage in San Francisco, I gotta say, beats New York. It seems like they appreciate, I don't know, maybe they just don't, look, see, there she goes. Maybe they just don't, New York, it's like there's only so much footprint, especially in Manhattan, that's just like, they will bulldoze anything. They will get rid of anything. San Francisco, it seems like, I mean, there is a lot of vacancy here. Oh, there's a Waymo. There is a lot of vacancy here, but, it also, there's a lot of some store or something. I think she went in like a vintage store over here. Okay. I wanted to talk about the poet's novel. I started to talk about this last time. What does that mean? I think the original scroll of On the Road, like that's a poet's novel. The original scroll. a poet being a maker of things, right? The poet meaning maker. When you make, I think that with every poem you have to make the form, right? The form has to suit what the material wants to be. And that's sort of what a poet's novel is. It's not just like, okay, we're going to do chapters and normal punctuation and we're going to, outline it and shit. It's more like you can make the novel be an imitation of anything, like a piece of art. It doesn't necessarily have to be psychological realism or like some kind of Flaubert thing. It doesn't have to be a Dostoevsky. Maybe she just abandoned me. And I like to apply that idea, the poet's novel. Maybe it's just a novel that sucks. Or I don't know, like Clear the Range is Naked Lunch might be a poet's novel because it's like this cut up thing. It would be an interesting kind of like symposium or unit of study, like the poet's novel throughout, the centuries or whatever. Philip Whalen wrote novels. Michael McClure's got a novel, Clear the Range, Inferno. What are other poets' novels? Well, I was thinking about my own, to turn it back to me, my own book is sort of almost like prose poetry, but like reverse. It's not like poetry in a prose paragraph form. It's more like a novel in a weird way. It's like I'm writing a novel using kind of like poetry techniques or something, rather than just writing kind of like coherent, legible, readable, traditional syntax. But it's written almost like in chapters, this ongoing narrative. It's functions in a novel in that it's almost about all the information. It's about all of the details and the passage of time. Whereas a poem, it's more like you have to take that information and kind of like make it. I read something about this the other day. The information has to like move, which like I don't know. Also just like the kind of like, I thought I was creating all these different forms, but it's really just kind of one form that's kind of like going through all of the poems. And there's sort of like chapter breaks, which are the titles or the days or whatever. And that's sort of like a novel. Oh, there she is. That's fine. She can do whatever the fuck that's what she wants. I was gonna try to find Bob Kaufman Alley. The other day we were in Jack Michelin Place. One of the great things about San Francisco, right, is they have streets named after poets, like France. Bob Kaufman Alley, Jack Kerouac Alley, right? We've been spending tons of time at Vesuvio. I'd never been into Vesuvio before. It's amazing. It's like one of the best bars I've ever been in. The Prelude is another thing that as I'm looking at my book, I'm like, oh, this is a lot like the fucking Prelude, where it's just like blank, the Prelude is just blank verse, It's got these chapters, or books, I guess is what they are. So it's like in installments, but like the form just kind of like runs and runs and runs and runs and runs in those 10 syllable lines. And so I don't know, I guess, like poet's band, right? A poetry band. Maybe that's just an excuse. Is being a poet just an excuse for being kind of like a weakling and incompetent? Or childlike. I don't know, there's something childlike about it. Making it your own way, writing it your own way, rather than, trying to be, I don't know, John Updike or something. So like my live streams, right, or my vlogs, I would say the live streams are sort of like, or you apply that principle or that approach to whatever the hell it is you're working on. So like with this, that's part of the intention. The intention is not necessarily to be Dr. Disrespect or fucking Mr. Beast or some kind of massively popular. I don't know how to do that. But I have my own ideas about what I want to put through the live stream. And I want it to kind of have a surface like the poet's novel surface, where it's like a little more idiosyncratic. It's maybe a little more imperfect. It's mistakes. There's mistakes. To me, the mistakes, right? That's like the thing that improv teaches you, right? It's like the mistake is what makes a scene interesting. The mistake is the thing that makes it kind of like come to life. And, now that we're entering this world of kind of like computers manipulated perfection, right? Glitch art is one of the more interesting things created by fucking computers. And that kind of stuff, I don't know, it kind of saturates the air here. It does seem like, obviously, I mean, tech is like a huge thing here. I mean, this is ground zero. This is the epicenter. And so it kind of inflects a lot of the things. I love how much live music there is. Like, that's why I love coming down here. I guess it's sort of like McDougal or Bleecker. It's like this place that was like really happening in like the 50s. But they still, like Red Lion, they have, they got live music all over McDougal Street. Groove. I guess this is the equivalent. So it's cool to just be walking up and down the strip, and there's tons of bars full of people, and then there's live bands that you can just sort of peek in on. You don't have to pay cover charge. This band last night played Money for Nothing. That was pretty cool. North Beach Pizza here. Maybe I'll walk. I'm waiting for her, but yeah, it's just nice to hear. I mean, there was a band. We're gonna go to Caffe Trieste in a minute. There was a band in fucking Caffe Trieste the other day when we were sitting there. An accordion, guy on a guitar, guy on bongos. And it sounded so nice. It was like quiet. I mean, San Francisco is like kind of a profoundly international. And I don't know, it's politics, it kind of almost disavows or kind of proudly differentiates itself from the rest of the United States. Thank God for San Francisco that it is like this like extreme left kind of enclave. I don't know how tech kind of interacts with that or clashes with that, but I mean, Pelosi, right, is from San Francisco. Not only that, but like we've been in some amazing, like we went to the Castro yesterday, and it's like we went in this queer-owned bookstore, queer-owned coffee place. I left my pamphlets there because I was just like, this is cool, It's like it's cool that it's like, the Castro. It's like the whole community. It's nice that there's that power and that kind of like focus, and it's almost like its own colony or something in a way. But it's I don't know. I felt you can feel the kind of activism, or like I wouldn't even say it's woke because everything in San Francisco kind of predates woke. This is the place where they've been doing it. They've been left. They've been talking about all this stuff for decades. So it doesn't feel, contrived like it can. When you come here and it's like you really feel like they mean it and it's palpable. It influences the whole, civic kind of governance in a way that I think really works. I mean, this city is like still looks great. Still, we got a bunch of cool old shit like Caffe Trieste, like city lights, like Vesuvio. It's not the grisly pear. I was looking at this bio of Bob Kaufman. It was talking about how he would go to all the coffee houses in New York, I forget the names, but one of them was the Rienzi, right, which was a famous kind of like beat poetry coffee house back when such things existed out there. Now it's the Grizzly Pear. So as I'm reading this fucking Bob Kaufman bio, I'm like, oh my god, they're talking about the grizzly bear in this. What would Bob Kaufman think? When Bob Kaufman's spirit goes to visit the grizzly bear, goes to visit the Rienzi and finds the grizzly bear, what does he think? Okay, okay, I'm gonna do 20 minutes or so. Did it actually leave already? I feel like I guess it must be a cool store. Yeah, I don't know. We've just had a pretty amazing trip. We haven't been there that long and we're leaving, so it's like... But we've done pretty much as many amazing, cool stuff as you can do while still... You know, one thing I realized being here is like... a lot of times when I travel out here, I'm so tied to the whole region. Because a lot of times I'm staying outside. I stayed in Santa Rosa, right, or Mountain View, or just everywhere but San Francisco. And a few times here, we stayed with our friend Colin. Shout out to Colin. But you know, I'm always driving. I've been to Berkeley and Oakland as much as here in a certain way. You know, we played that gig in art gallery in Oakland in like 2020, right before the pandemic. And so it's like I have, you know, that, whereas in New York, it's like I almost have no sense of that because I never drive anywhere. I never go upstate. I never really go to Long Island. I've hardly been to New Jersey, like at all, ever, except to go through it, which is kind of a shame. Whereas, like, I'm in the city, so I have this experience of the city in Brooklyn and Manhattan, whatever. Whereas, like, here, it's kind of the opposite, where it's like, you know, I've been down the Pacific Coast Highway, like, a few times. I've been to the Henry Miller Library a few times. I've been lucky, you know? So it's like I have this whole kind of, like, scrolled out sense of the region and whatnot. Is she gonna go that way? I'm just gonna go this way. Okay. We're walking on, she can't stand to be anywhere near the live stream. We're walking on opposite sides of the street here. Yeah, I got to do an open mic. We had a reading in a freaking art gallery. We got some nice books. You know, we're working on our poet's novel. You know, there's prose poetry. Maybe my book is poetry prose. You know, in a certain way, I want it to read like a novel. I want it to be something that's like you can just sit and you know, it's like you want to have both experiences at once. You want to have it be a poem and something that you can like dwell on and have a replay value and just dive in anywhere and pick up and start reading anywhere. But you can read it from start to finish and there is a story, I guess, or just life happening at its own kind of pace. They had some kind of painting exhibit in this gallery. Yeah, Larry Ferlinghetti, Jack Hirschman. You should check that out. Maybe we'll just go to Jack Michelin Alley and we'll end there and then we'll come back. So, yeah, I'll wrap it up pretty soon. The alley's right up here. I think they've got Jack Michelin in one fucking alley and Bob Kaufman in another. The church, the park. It's a weird, like, mirror image of New York in some ways. It's like a fraternal mirror. I think that's... Is that Bob Kaufman Alley right there? I think it's on that hill up there, maybe. We were looking at it the other night. It was majestic and amazing. Yeah, so it's like, you know, this street's kind of like the McDougal, Bleecker, the the Flower Thief and the fucking Coffee Gallery and all of that kind of scene. What, the Coexistence Bagel Shop or whatever. That was all here, I think. And in this area. We went to this amazing restaurant, Cafe Macaroni. This waiter was like the greatest guy on earth. He had this just greatest voice. Hey, you missed you had 8:30 reservation. You did not show up. We had to use the table. It's very small. It's a very small place. But Bill Murray recommended it on Joe Rogan. So we had to go to Cafe Macaroni. Apparently Roman Coppola took him there. So all kind of insider shit. So here we are. We're back on Jack Michelin Place. Michelin. Harvey Silver. Harvey Silver Alley. Here it is. There it is. Harvey Silver. Pretty freaking nice, really. That Harwood Alley is somewhere on one of these hills. I think that's where Neely Cherkovsky lived, and there's a lot of... I think he has a book called On Harwood Alley. I didn't really even know this shit was here, otherwise I would have visited before. Every time I come to San Francisco, I kind of get touched back in with Jack Michelin, who's sort of like the template in a lot of ways. 'Cause he was like a street poet. He did his readings kind of, and I was reading this thing the other day. He said he never had a grant, a residency, never taught a poetry workshop. So he's kind of the anti-institutional, human, reading in bars type guy. So Jack Michelin is a continual source of inspiration. So I didn't even know this was here, until... I don't even know. I found it on fucking... I think I was reading that Dead Lions book or something and it mentioned it. Well, anyway, so we'll probably end it here. Another little mini-sode. Thank you for watching, everybody. We'll be back in New York soon, so we'll be at open mic tomorrow. And, it'll be like this never happened. Thank you for watching. And go back and watch all of them, These are little vacation mini logs, everybody. Thank you for watching. All right, have a great day.
Bye-bye.
Ciao.
Bye.
Bye. Java chicken. The what?
Little, like, the wooden thing.
Yeah, I saw that. Is that like, what do you think that's for?
You could do anything, like shoes, books.
Oh, I see. It's like a free rack.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.